Hi friends, welcome to Moody Blooms. Today we're going to discuss the Dieffenbachia plant, sometimes called the Dieffenbachia plant or Dieffenbachia, but it is best known as the Dumbcane plant. And these are super easy to care for. They require very little maintenance, but one thing to keep in mind is that they are poisonous. So if you get the sap that comes out of these plants on your hands and then it touches your eyes, or worse, if it gets in your mouth and you swallow it, it actually can cause your throat to close up. So don't get it anywhere near your throat, and probably best to keep away from your little ones or those cute little pets. So let's get started about the care instructions for this particular plant. Now they do well in a wide variety of many locations. They actually can handle quite a lot. These plants can also be propagated in water. And as you can see here, I got this massive stalk with the roots growing on here. And normally I would have planted it, but see how there's two stalks coming out right here and here? And I'm actually gonna wait till they grow a little bit further, and then I'm gonna cut them off and plant them as separate plants. And then I'll cut these off in a later video for you to show you how to actually do that. Okay, next we have lighting for your Dumbcane plant. Dumbcane is an easy houseplant that is actually quite adaptable to many different lighting situations. Like many tropical plants, they thrive in medium to bright indirect light, but they can also do well in low light. Of course, in low light, they will not grow as fast and the leaves will not be as big and variegated, but they'll do just fine. Dieffenbachia shows its best coloration under bright light. They do really want light, so be sure to rotate them at each watering about a quarter turn. If you notice that your leaves are coming out really small or they're not really growing at all, be sure to move your plant to a spot where it will get more light. Once you learn how to care for your plant, you'll find that it's very adaptable to different kinds of lighting and conditions that you might not expect a houseplant to grow. Soil for your Dumbcane plant. Dumbcane plants prefer well-draining soil, but not so well-draining that the roots can't access the moisture. Use a loose, fertile, high organic medium. Many different mixes can be used. Plants can be grown in pure peat or a few different ratios. A 1:1 ratio of peat and perlite, or a 1:1 ratio of soil and peat, a 1:1:1 ratio of soil, peat, and perlite or vermiculite also works. You just want to make sure that the growing medium has a good water holding capacity and that it's well draining. I like a combination of about 60% coco coir or peat moss with 20% compost and 20% perlite or pumice or coarse sand. You just want something that's kind of chopped up that allows the water in the air and movement through the soil. If the soil is too compacted, plants do not do well, and they'll be struggling to try to find the oxygen. They can also potentially get root rot, which is not good. These guys do not like root rot. They actually prefer to dry out in between watering, and they'll let you know when they're ready for water because the leaves will start to get a little droopy. If you wait too long, the leaves will start to turn yellow and fall off. And be sure to wait to pull those leaves off until they can be gently pulled off. You could always use shears to cut the yellow leaves, but it's best to wait till they can gently be pulled off, because when you use shears and make a cut, you're actually allowing access for bacteria, fungus, and other pests to get in. Nature's really good about letting you know when it's ready to shed a new leaf, so just let it be and go a little longer and you'll be able to gently pull it off. So water requirements for your Dieffenbachia or Dumbcane plant. Now, Dieffenbachia plants like regular watering, but you never want the soil to be too wet or soggy for extended periods. Indoor plants actually die way more from overwatering than they do from underwatering every year, so it's best to keep your Dumbcane plant on the dry side if you're in doubt. My foolproof way of watering is to use a moisture meter. They're pretty inexpensive and they remove any watering doubt, especially for beginners. Keep in mind, the smaller the pot, the more you're going to have to water. If you have plants in small containers, be prepared to water them more often because there's not much soil in the smaller pot compared to a much larger plant. Lack of humidity can cause leaf tips to become brown and crispy. They prefer a little higher humidity in the air. If the leaves start developing brown tips or edges, try relocating your plant to a well-lit bathroom for some added humidity. You can also group it with other houseplants, which release moisture in the air as they breathe. Or another option is to set it on a pebble-filled tray of water so that the bottom of the pot rests on the pebbles, but above the water to keep roots from rotting. Fertilizing your Dieffenbachia will encourage it to grow more and at a faster rate. At a minimum, it's best to fertilize your plant once or twice a year, but I personally will fertilize a mature plant twice a month during the growing season to encourage healthy plant growth. These plants are considered heavy feeders, and a houseplant fertilizer high in nitrogen can be applied at half strength. Younger plants love to be fertilized too because they just really haven't established their root system yet. I typically give younger Dumbcane plants a little bit of liquid fertilizer that's very diluted almost every time I water them during the growing season. During the off season, I'd recommend that you still fertilize it, although very lightly. Plants given a minimal amount of nutrients will grow slowly and retain a desired shape. Keep in mind that plants growing in limited light will require less fertilization. If you over-fertilize your plants, you'll start seeing curling leaves on the outer edges of the leaf. So if you see that, make sure that you start cutting back and maybe leach out the soil and get rid of the salts and the minerals that are building up in your soil. Just be careful with fertilizing, but you should definitely do it if your plant is actively growing. Be sure to always water your plants first before you fertilize to avoid burning the leaf edges in the feeder roots. Temperatures for your Dumbcane plant. These guys can live in a wide variety of temperatures, but they do not like going below about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And temperatures should never go below 50 degrees Fahrenheit as they will stop growing. They perform really well between about 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit and even warmer. But just keep in mind when it is warmer that you're going to have to water them more often. Keep out of hot or cold drafts because they will be sensitive to the drafts. If you notice your leaves are really droopy, move them to a warmer spot in the house and you'll hopefully see them perk back up. Propagating your Dieffenbachia. You can propagate in a couple different ways. I personally like to propagate in water because you actually get to see these beautiful, healthy light green and white roots forming. Change the water about once a week. When you do take a cutting from your Dieffenbachia, make sure that it has at least a few leaves. When you cut, you want to cut where you leave at least 2 leaves on either side to give the plant a chance to push out some more new growth. Soil propagating also works well. Dry the cuttings out for about a day or so and then stick them in a rooting medium such as peat, sand, perlite, or vermiculite. Stem cuttings will establish roots faster in moss than in sand, and cuttings from the top of the plant will actually root faster than sections taken from the base of the stem. Larger stems will produce roots faster than smaller stems, apparently because the larger stems contain more stored food. Keep the soil moist for about a month or so, not like dripping, soaking wet, but moist. You want the roots to get established. Give it a lot of light, but not direct light, because direct sunlight will cause the leaves to burn. Air layering is also an option for propagating, and this is a great way that can be used when the plant becomes top-heavy or lanky with naked stems. Repotting your Dumbcane plant. Allowing the plant to become too root-bound in its present container can affect proper and healthy growth. When you first buy the plant, if it's too small of a pot, make sure that you repot it so the plant can grow adequately. After that, about every 2 to 3 years is good, and preferably in spring. When repotting your Dumbcane plant, you'll want a clean pot that is about 1 size bigger than the pot that it's currently growing in, and be sure that it has drainage holes on the bottom. Now keep in mind that plastic pots will retain soil moisture longer than clay pots, cutting down the need for more frequent watering. Clay pots are heavier, but the soil dries quicker, requiring more frequent waterings. When you remove your plant from its existing container, check the root system, and if it's wrapping or if it's bunched together, gently pull it apart with your fingers. Fill the new container about 1/4 of the way full with fresh soil and place the Dumbcane plant inside. Continue filling the container with soil, and when the pot is full, press firmly around the plant's base with your fingers. Never plant the plant in anything deeper than it was originally growing, as this can put stress on the plant. After planting, water the soil until it runs from the container's bottom drainage holes, and then place the plant back where it was originally growing. The Dieffenbachia Flower. Dieffenbachia has a unique type of flower. A spathe and a spadix make up the inflorescence or imperfect bloom. The spathe is green and often resembles an unfolding leaf. It actually persists for a long period of time. The spadix is erect, off-white in color, and often hidden. The male flowers are near the tip of the spadix, and the female flowers occur at the base. The flowers are insect pollinated, and if fruit develops, it's berry-like in appearance. Dieffenbachia seldom flowers indoors, and the blooms are not really showy. Okay, next we have problems with your Dumbcane plant. Problems with these plants can be easily overcome in most situations. These beauties are susceptible to mealybugs, thrips, spider mites, and aphids. Caterpillars have even been known to chomp a leaf or two. If some of the leaves appear bleached with a webby substance on the underside, check and treat the plants for pests with an insecticidal soap spray or neem oil. Don't use chemicals for this issue on your Dumbcane plants, as it often makes the problems worse. You can also have salt buildup or mineral buildup in your soil, so be sure to keep an eye on the overall general health of your plant. Pull it out of the pot if you suspect that something's going on that you can't see on the actual leaves. Look at the roots, because it's possible that your plant is sitting in water too long. Overwatering is a common problem with many houseplants, and this plant is no exception. The most common problem with growing your Dumbcane is too much moisture. Be sure to check the soil to make sure it is dry an inch down before watering the plant again. Other problems with Dieffenbachia plants may be created by improper lighting. Most varieties do best in a filtered light situation where bright to moderate light shines through a sheer curtain or filtering window cover. Filtered light is really important in spring and summer when the plant is producing new tender leaves that are subject to sunburn if the light is too bright or shines directly on the plant. Rotate the plant regularly to provide adequate light to all sides of the plant and to prevent it from reaching towards the light on one side. They generally do fine in low light environments. However, the growth is going to be slower or sometimes stops, but the plant will remain healthy and attractive. Browning bottom leaves is normal for the plant as it grows and matures. Remove them when they can be gently pulled off to keep the plant tidy. I get a lot of questions from you guys on my Instagram and through email, and I'm going to answer them here. So let's get started with those. So one of the first questions is, why does my Dieffenbachia plant drip water? So if you notice water droplets or sap on the Dumbcane plant, this is a byproduct of the transpiration process, which is active in actually most plants. If the toxic sap gets onto your mouth, it can cause your throat to swell and close, so make sure you keep it away from pets and kids. Another question is, can the Dieffenbachia plant kill you? The leaves, if chewed or eaten, can actually cause temporary burning sensation and then numbing or swelling of the tongue and throat, and this is why it gives it their common name, Dumbcane. This can lead to temporary loss of speech. While it's usually not serious, it can cause suffocation on a rare occasion, so always wash your hands and tools after you touch the leaves. Why are the tips of my plant getting brown and crispy? Typically, this is lack of humidity, and this causes them to get that brown, crispy look on the edges. Why are the bottom leaves turning brown? Browning leaves on the bottom is actually normal as the plant grows and matures, and you can just gently pull those off. Too much fertilizer can also cause the tips of your Dumbcane to brown as well. Why is my plant yellowing or dropping off its lower leaves? This will generally happen from overwatering, so be sure the soil is well draining and not soggy. Why is my plant droopy? Well, it can have some droop if it is in need of some water or some added sun. So first check the soil and add water as needed. And if the issue is not with the soil, then make sure you move it to a brighter location. Why are the leaves on my Dumbcane plant coming in small? When the indoor plant does not get enough light, new leaves are small and far apart on the stem. So be sure that they're getting adequate light if you see this on your plant. How do I fix a leggy Dumbcane plant? You can pinch or prune out new growth at the top regularly. Pruning at the top will actually encourage new growth, and it'll make it a bushier plant and stay more compact. If your Dumbcane gets too leggy, you can top the plant or cut it back anywhere on the stem. Should I mist my Dumbcane plant? This plant loves humidity. Putting it in a bathroom will not only give your bathroom a great look, but it'll also give this plant the humidity that it likes. If you can't do this, mist the leaves from time to time. Why is it called Dumbcane? We kind of touched on this earlier, but the Dumbcane gets its name from the temporary speechlessness that occurs after chewing a piece of the stem. Juices of the plant contain oxalates and other substances that irritate mucous membranes and cause swelling and inflammation on the tongue and throat. All of the parts contain raphides, crystalline, needle-like structures which are ejected when the cells are damaged. Raphides are believed to be a defense mechanism against browsing animals, since ingesting of the plant will cause it to sting and burn the mouth and throat, and these symptoms can last up to 2 weeks. Can the Dieffenbachia live outside? Gardeners living in zones 11 and 12 can grow these plants outdoors in partial shade, where it makes a great landscape plant. It can also be grown outdoors in a shady location, but it must be protected from the cold. Dumbcane varieties. There are over 30 different Dieffenbachia species, with some more common than others, and there are more than 100 different cultivars, so choices in plants are vast and varied. They sport different leaf patterns, colors, and sizes. Their striking, lush leaves are usually marked in shades of cream, yellow, or white with mixtures of green, tan, and gold. They add fun color and texture with different splotches, spots, stripes, or a feathery pattern. There's so many different beauties to choose from, making this plant a great addition to any area. Dumbcane adds fun color and texture without flowers. Dieffenbachia is native to the New World tropics, from Mexico to the West Indies, south to Argentina. It's an upright grower, so it's an excellent choice to grow along an empty wall or near a large piece of furniture. It adds flair and drama to bedrooms, dens, offices, or other rooms. It is a perfect houseplant for beginners, and I just love this guy. I hope you enjoyed the Dumbcane tips on how to care for this beautiful, low-maintenance plant. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on Moody Blooms. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe so you can be updated as soon as a new video drops. Give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed our content, and we're so glad that you joined us today.